That's modern technology. We're being taped, but not on the screen there.
All right.
So if we're all set to go, we're going to call to order our first hearing of the evening. This is the 7:15 hearing, and it's the application of Kevin and Stephanie Doyle, who live at 20, is it Bonad Road?
Correct, yes.
Okay. In Milton, the property is a residency zoning district. The house, like most of the applications tonight, was built in 1940 or earlier. And so the applicants here are requesting, they want to remove an existing garage on the left-hand side that's attached, and an existing sunroom at the rear, and they want to build an L-shaped 2.5-story addition to the property. The home was originally built 9 feet 7 inches from the right side lot line and 9'8" from the left side lot line when 10 feet are required under the zoning bylaw. This proposed addition would be located at 6.8 feet from the left side line. I'll summarize the advertisement. My name is John Leonard. I'm chairman of the Board of Appeals. With me tonight, two veteran board members, Board Member Nicholas Gray to my immediate left, and Board Member Theodore Deba to my immediate right. The rules of the board are first, we'll hear from the applicant, then we'll hear from people who have questions of the applicant. We'll hear from those people who wish, if at all, to speak in opposition to this application. We're tape recording the proceedings here. That's the official record and not the TV screen. I'll just summarize the ad. What we'll have as evidence for this particular hearing, it looks like May, but it's Mr. Corcoran's writing. May 17, 2009 is the date of the application. We have an addendum to the application filed by attorney Edward J. Corcoran of his law office is in Quincy, but he lives in Milton and has for many years. With some attachments and a discussion of the issues presented. We have a denial letter by Mr. Prondak, our building commissioner, dated May 8th, 2019. We have a plot plan by by Neponset Valley Survey, Inc. of Quincy, Massachusetts. It's apparently revised as of April 3rd, 2019. And we have some plans, additions and alterations to the single-family residence. They don't seem to be stamped. Did you do these plans, or did you have somebody do them for you?
Someone do them for us.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Corcoran can help us there. These plans look like they're dated 8/30. Is that 2013? It can't be 2013, but it's blurred. Is it 18? 18.
It'd be 2018.
It has to be. It has to be.
I think that the architect is someone named Gorham, builder in.
Oh, I'm sorry, sure, it's JSG Architecture from
Joe Jen.
Swanton Street, yeah, that's right, I just read right over it. So that's in two sheets, one is interior, one is exterior. So we'll have those plans as evidence at the hearing, and we also list an abutters list. So, Mr. Corcoran, you all set to go? Good, welcome back to the Board of Appeals. We're delighted to hear from you. Why don't you tell us about the application and why the board should grant the requested relief?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be back. As you said, I'm here with Kevin and Stephanie Doyle, who are the owners of the property at 20 Bonad Road, which is about 2 blocks behind Town Hall, towards the Pierce Middle School.
Prime territory.
What's that?
Prime territory.
Yes, absolutely. And they have a growing family. When they bought the house a number of years ago, they had one child who was a year old. They now have 3. The oldest of whom is 12, next one's 10, forget the third.
6.
6, but
12, 10, and 6.
moved into a house that was built for another day, and they have a growing family and desire to expand the building in order to be able to accommodate that family in a slightly larger garage to accommodate a more modern vehicle. So I have 3, a brief set of materials to share. The first item is a photograph from Google Earth of the house showing the garage, the side of the house to be improved with the garage. Second is a copy of the 1929 subdivision plan showing a number of lots. This lot is lot number 21, which fronts on Bonad Road. As you can see, all but one of the lots is substantially substandard associated with today's zoning. This lot,
In terms of size?
In terms of size, lot size. So this, for example, this lot, 5,040 square feet. It's roughly the same size as most of the other lots. There is one lot that is 11,393 square feet. That must have been the original owner of the subdivision for retaining a bigger lot. And then I have behind that Maps Online site, essentially the same area. And I think you can see that many of the houses are not only on substandard lots, but they are also non-conforming with respect to either side yard or some other setback. The houses across the street at 21, 25, 29, 33, 21, Bonad Road all appear to be less than 10 feet off of the side lot line. So I had filed originally a copy of the plot plan and a copy of the architectural plans that were prepared by Joe Genduso, who is a Milton architect, JSG.
He's been before us. We've had Mr. Gianduso, he wasn't here personally, but I think on the last couple of applications.
I think the
Terrific.
relief being requested is somewhat minimal. I mean, going from 9.8 feet to 6.8 feet, it's about a 3-foot difference in terms of the encroachment to the side lot. I have letters of support from Mary McGuire, who lives at 14 Bonad Road, which is the property towards which this building will move. I have Carolyn Brandy, who owns at 4 Magnolia Road, which is the lot next door on the other side, and it's the corner lot, Magnolia and Bonad. One from Stephen Ligori and
Rebecca
Ligori at 17 Bonad Road, directly across the street. Jim and Becky Davis at 21 Bonad Road, across the street, and Amanda Murphy and Jim Gaynor, who own at 29 Bonad Road, also across the street. We don't have other letters, but I'm advised by the Doyles that they have met with all of the neighbors, that none of the neighbors have any issues or concerns, and none of the neighbors are here to speak in opposition, as I understand it. So with that, I'll open up to the board for questions. And
My first question, are you going to offer those in
yes,
evidence?
please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I should have reached down earlier.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Corcoran. Most of the time, I have difficulty reading these handwritings, and it's kind of embarrassing, so. Mr. Gray, do you have any questions of Mr. Corcoran? Or the-
Not at this time.
Mr. Daber?
I would... myself oriented again. And you may have said this, but there's also, there's an existing garage that's being removed at the same time, right? You're adding the garage, but you're also taking the existing one down. And
That's the garage that's visible
Yes.
in the photo that's coming out, and then there's a larger.
I was going to ask a question whether that's a garage or a shed.
Well, yeah, it's not
Can you get an
structurally-
automobile in there?
It's not structurally strong enough to build on top of it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Daber, why don't you
That's okay.
continue with your question?
And I assume or can I assume, that the exterior will be in keeping and consistent with the exterior of the current house and
Correct,
color
yes.
and, it's siding, I guess it's what wood, yeah, clapboard siding.
Correct, yeah, we would replace it with similar siding.
We're gonna do probably like cedar impressions or some kind of siding.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Any other questions?
Okay, I don't have any further questions or comments. Let me ask, is there anybody present tonight who, I'm sorry, do you have anything else further you want to add, Mr. Milton? Okay, let me ask, is there anyone present tonight who has questions of Mr. and Mrs. Doyle or questions of Mr. Corcoran regarding this application? Okay, so the record out there indicates no such person present. Let me ask the important question of the evening for you folks. Is there anybody out there in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, there's no such person present, so unless you have any objections, Mr. Corcoran, we'll end the evidence portion of
No
this
objection.
hearing and discuss it unless, do any of you folks have any additional questions?
No other
Okay.
questions.
Good, we'll close the evidence portion of the hearing and discuss this application in open session as we're required to do so, and hopefully vote on this application here and now. Mr. Gray, do you want to be heard first?
Sure. I think the application was well presented, and I'm heartened by the fact that so much support has been gained from the neighbors with letters of support from most of the abutters. No one's here in opposition to it. I take note that the requested relief is only a foot or so more than the current situation, and that obviously from the diagram, many houses in the neighborhood have similar problems, so it's hard to say that it would be out of keeping with the other homes in the neighborhood. That being the case, I would tend to vote in favor of the application.
Okay, Mr. Deva, please.
I agree with everything that Mr. Gray said, and would just also add that under the standard applicable for the special permit, that I'd find that the special permit can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and substantially derogating from the intent of the bylaw, or substantially, and without substantial detriment to the neighborhood as well.
Right, it's a mouthful, but that's the legal
Right.
test. I agree with my colleagues. I think the application has merit. It's been well presented. It's been well documented. We appreciate your addendum, Mr. Corcoran. From my perspective here, this is probably the third or fourth application in a row where we have younger families who purchased smaller lots, and the family is growing, and the house doesn't meet their needs, and they need to expand in order to make the house habitable, or otherwise move to Stoughton or some other community. And it's really great. It's really healthy that we have young, vigorous families willing to invest in their homes and invest in Milton. And I think we do a service to the community by trying to make it easier for you to do so. So I think this application has merit, and we will vote it here and now. And so let's vote the application. All those in favor of granting a special permit with the finding that the proposed changes here are not more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists, say aye.
Aye.
And obviously, that's a kind of a negative way to put it, but in point of fact, your application here and the improvements you're going to make, it's not only not more detrimental, it's a very positive thing for the neighborhood, for your neighbors, and for the family. So this is kind of a win-win situation, kind of a slam dunk, Mr. Corcoran.
Once in a while.
Congratulations, I won't go through my usual speech about the appeal period and all of that. Mr. Corcoran will deal with that. You know how to deal with Mr. Prondak in the interim if you need to talk with him. So congratulations on your finding, and good luck on your renovations.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You want me to do that, or
I don't
whatever? I
care.
don't care.
You want to arm wrestle over it, or?
Too tired.
I know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna put this in the...
was the last time a case actually took 15 minutes? I don't think we're going to get that lucky.
Well, I think you're absolutely right.
Okay. I gotta put this.
Are we all set for a second application? Is Mr. Lindor here? Sure, why don't you, come on up, Mr. Lindor, make yourself comfortable. Is that your son back there?
Oh, that's my niece.
Okay.
Short hair.
Yeah, well, the short hair gets you every
It's
time.
late in the day. I won't hold it against
You
you.
want to come up here and make yourself comfortable? You don't have to, whatever you feel best. Okay. Just give me 2 seconds to make a couple of notes here. Okay. We're going to call to order our second hearing of the evening. I'll make a little speech, and then we can get to the hearing. This is the application of Legrand Lindor. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay, Mr. Lindor resides at 12 Breck Street in Milton, Residence C zoning district. Here's the home that was built in the 1920s, a two-family house. It's pre-existing non-conforming with respect to its use. The application indicates that the applicant here is seeking a special permit and a finding under Section 4 that certain improvements to the present existing non-conforming structure will be made, and that the property will be an improvement to the neighborhood and not a detriment, or not substantially more detriment. There's a lot of relief requested here, so I will have, you can go through that rather than my reading it to you. That just wastes time. So that's a good summary of the application. I'll strike it, the newspaper ad. In addition to the newspaper ad, we're going to have the application, which is dated March 11th, 2019. We have a February 19, 2019 letter from Mr. Prondak talking about the relief that's required. We have some plans by Mr. Gianduso again. Is
Oh,
that
yes.
right?
Popular guy, I see.
He is a popular guy, and yeah, he's, I think the last 4 applications, he's been the architect of record. And so we have here exterior views of the property from all of the facets of the property, and we have 4 interior plans of the proposed improvements. So we have all of this stuff, and we also have a list of abutters, which I don't have to deal with at the present time. So as I think I indicated at the first hearing, we'll first hear from you. We'll hear from anyone who has questions. We'll hear from people who want to speak, if any. In opposition, we're tape recording the proceedings, so just tell us your name and address before you begin.
Sure.
And welcome to the Board of Appeals.
Thank you. And thank you again for rescheduling as well. I apologize for missing the first one because of work. So
Don't worry about that, because sometimes Ms. Sutton has to call me up and say, you know, we have a hearing tonight, so it happens.
thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good. We're glad you could make it.
My presentation may not be as well put together as Ned's, Corcoran's, but you know, for the same reason that the previous people are renovating their home, growing family. We have a 6-month-old daughter, my wife and I. So we want to expand the property as well. I actually got the idea from the properties around the corner from my house on Breck Street. Breck Street's right behind Clapp Street and Pierce Middle School. And going up that street, Central, you see on the blue house, they redid the attic over in that same kind of facet that would gave me the idea to do the plan. It's the same exact way. So right now, I live on the second floor of the 2-family. I have tenants on the first floor. My unit has 2 bedrooms and a small office room that can be the 3rd bedroom. But we want to expand, obviously, to put 2 more bedrooms. My niece actually just moved up from Virginia about 3 months ago as well, so she's staying and living with me.
Summer in the Boston.
For summer in work, and she's staying
Working.
here.
You're going to stay here?
No, she's working with my company now as well. So
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes.
What's the nature of your business?
So I'm an attorney, but we also I
We
operate.
won't hold that against you. by
Yeah,
the
please
way.
don't, please don't. But I'm the chief operating officer for a logistics company called Skycom RTD Logistics Skycom Courier. We do a lot of medical couriering work for Yale New Haven Hospital, all the hospitals here in Boston, and warehousing and trucking and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's great. Sounds
And
very
flyers
interesting.
here too. We always have to market our companies. So, but so in terms of the plans, I don't have them in front of me, but I think you have them in front of you in regards to the non-conforming,
Hold on one second.
where we're increasing the height of the property, but I believe that is actually not the non-conforming portion of the property. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Look.
And for the current structure right here, we're adding dormers on the sides, but my property line is very narrow. I actually share a driveway with Victor Garino, 10 Breck Street, and he has an approval letter of support for me as well here. But in terms of that, I think we have to be 10 feet from the property line. One side is 8 feet from there, and the other side is about 5 feet, I believe, or so from there. But it's, in the current structure, it's still, actually, obviously, the dormers are shorter inside the actual width of the house. And also from the front side as well, from the property line, in terms of the fact that have to be 25 feet, I think, from the front side, and the construction is about 15 or something like that from there. But, same exact reason in terms of, added space for the home. The way the market is now, it is less to renovate in my structure than to buy a home of that would be the ultimate size of the property within Milton. My family has lived in Milton for over 30 years. My uncle lives on Hollingsworth Road. My sister and brother-in-law live on Mulberry Road. My cousin owns a 3-family on Brush Shore Road. So we're kind of all over the place, and I think they would love to have me stay here. But like I said, I don't know what else I can say, but I think I've been a good member of the community as well. I bought the property after I graduated from law school in 2007. I renovated the unit, the whole entire place. It was a foreclosure, and it was water damage all over. One of the pipes busted on the 2nd level, and so we renovated the first floor. I generally have great tenants also on the first floor that are peaceable and good neighbors in the community as well, and we like to think that we are as well on the 2nd floor.
Did you have an opportunity to talk to your neighbors about the proposed project?
Yes, so I have the letter from Victor Garino on this one, and I provided letters as well. That's the only one I had that was signed. But I have, I spoke to others, and they've received the letters from the town and said, oh yeah, no problem. On each side of me, it's not owner occupied, but Victor's the owner of the one on 10 next to me over here on my right-hand side. They all received the letters in regards to the mailings. Actually, I was walking the baby, and I ran into a friend of mine whose father lives on the corner of Breck Street and Thatcher, and she saw the letter, and she was, they're from Cape Verde, and they said, oh, congratulations, and, no opposition here. But again, I don't have the letter from them, but I don't think they're here to oppose me as well.
Okay, so everyone you've talked with supports your application?
Yes, yeah,
Let me just read Mr. Garino's
sure.
letter. He lives at 10 Breck Street. I'd like to give my approval to Mr. LeGrand Lindor's proposal to renovate his attic and increase the height of his roof line. Mr. Lindor has been a good neighbor as we share a common driveway. Well, that's a very positive thing.
Yeah.
That usually sometimes causes controversy.
Yeah, no,
Could I
everybody's
just ask you one question?
Sure.
When I read this application, it sounds like you're taking the whole roof off and then just going up. And it sounded like a major league renovation to the house.
Sure. So the reason why we have to almost take the whole roof off is because the existing roof as it is now, if you're walking in the attic, it's half finished. The roof line is very short in terms of for height for the property. And so that's why we have to really kind of bump it out to give more height on there. But I think the height aspect of it is not the non-conforming portion of the property. And I recently seen that with, I don't know the number of the house, but it's on Central as well, right next to the blue house. It's the gray one that just finished, and they put the property on the market about maybe 3 weeks ago or something. They did the same thing, they ripped off the whole thing. But I know their neighbors aren't as close as mine probably, and across from them is the school, is the Pierce Middle School, and whereas I have people directly across from me. But
And most of the lots in this neighborhood, smaller lots.
yeah, so I think we have about 7,000 square feet of lot. It's a long narrow. Right behind behind me is the waterway, and so we have a decent sized yard. So on my side, it's two-family homes, and then the other side, it's single-family homes on that side.
Great. Let me see if my colleagues have any questions. Mr. Gray?
No, I think I get it.
Mr. Neighbor?
Yes, just for clarification, and Mr. Lindor, and perhaps you too, Mr. Chairman. So the structure itself, the use is pre-existing non-conforming, it's two-family, as I understand it. The structure as it sits there with its side setbacks is pre-existing non-conforming. All the work that you're doing is within the existing footprint of the building, and the only addition, not the only additional non-conformity, but the additional non-conformity you're creating is that it will now be considered a 3-story rather than a 2.5-story. Right. Is that correct? And that's the only non-conformity. Okay. I guess I don't have any other questions.
Okay. I just had one question that's, I'm not sure how important it is, but are you going to be living in the second floor while these renovations are taking place?
Well, I'm going to check to see. So my wife has a property in Randolph as well where, because of the baby, in terms of the dust and such, so we're probably going to, she's actually started to move over there right now just because she's really worried about it, as understandable. Probably halfway, as much as possible, but I haven't, finished talking with the
I was going to say, it's heroic.
Right.
You're able to stay in there while all this work is
Right.
taking place, but I guess...
But we do have, our family too are in the area too, so I can stay at my uncle's house as well. He's ready for me.
Okay, great. Let me, do you have anything else you'd like to add in support of your application?
I do not.
Okay, let's see if people have any questions.
Sure.
Does anybody who's present here have any questions of this application? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jean Fleischman.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Fleischman, you're going to have to come up here, let's see, over here. How's that? And we'll swing one of the microphones over. Because the TV technicians get very angry at me when people are talking from the back of the room. Okay, why don't you tell us your name, please?
I'm Jean Fleischman, and I live at 5 Breck Street. So I'm across the street and 2 houses up.
Okay.
LeGrand
Yeah.
and his family. And I guess I'd just like to, I'm here, I think, not for the speaking in opposition, but to ask maybe some questions.
Sure, that's fine.
To thank you for reaching out. We got letters yesterday with some information about the project, and so we thank you for that. The question I think that may be on my mind, and I have spoken with a couple of our other neighbors about that I think we're wondering about is, it does seem like a big project. And so we're wondering about mitigation of the impact on the neighborhood of just the construction, particularly of the thing that's, is the vehicles. Do you have any concept of, as you've gone through your planning, of, how many workers are you bringing into the neighborhood? How are they gonna, they're gonna be cranes, to take the roof off, or are there gonna be, what's it gonna do to the neighborhood? You've seen, there's, many of our neighbors park their cars in front of the house. The school's down the street, Can you speak a little to that?
Sure. Well, in terms of, I think there some aspect might have to have a crane or so to take out, parts of the roof or so, but I think it shouldn't take, too long of time. I know, and I'll also keep them in the parameters of like business working day as well. I know we have decent parking as well on the backside where, larger trucks and such can fit, especially if I'm not there during the day or have to park somewhere else, wherever, so obviously my car's smaller to handle that sort of thing so that it doesn't disrupt the parking of the neighbors. In regards to, I know, like on my side, we, sometimes, they park in front of my house, sometimes we park in front of theirs, depending on, if we have more people over visiting, that sort of thing. But I don't think it will be for an extended period of time if anything like that ever happened. And I know as well, obviously Milton too, during the nighttime, we can't even park our cars outside as well. So
Yeah.
I don't think there, but I understand, your point in regards to that. And I would do my best, obviously, in terms of, discussing that in terms of time frame as well with the workers in terms of that aspect. But I don't think it should be any major disruption that would be any different for most like renovations in terms of this nature, in terms of.
Mr. Lendo, could I ask you this? Is Mr. Gianduso, the architect, is he going to be supervising
Yes,
the
yes.
construction of the,
Yes, he's still
of the improvements?
He's still with me. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so is he going to basically act as, not as a foreman, but as a supervisor? to
Right, he is,
watch
because, because for certain things, he and I talked about in regards to sometimes, going through a lot of these as he has in terms of the planning and on the, the details that we have for the interior aspect of it. He said that he wants to be there, and I appreciate him stating that, and as well, so he would be there as well.
And I think, but I can't swear to this, but I think that on projects like this, where you have maybe some larger equipment being brought in for a short period of time, Mr. Prondak, the building commissioner, kind of weighs in on the construction schedule as to when construction starts, and if an officer is needed out there and that type of thing.
I think people would understand that. I think I would encourage you to keep communicating with us so that if there's going to be some sort of, major disruption, just let us know so we can plan around that. That would be great. And I think that really what's maybe in my mind is, the envisioning, how narrow the street gets when, like we're right down from Pierce Middle School. So when there's any kind of an event at Pierce and people, if you get people parking on both sides of the street gets very narrow and difficult to navigate. So what's in my mind, and the reason why this has piqued my curiosity is, I don't know if you recall this past fall, winter, when they were doing the construction of that building in East Milton Square, that big gray building next to Jubenville's law offices.
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And for an extended period there, it was very difficult to get to the post office because all the workers were driving their pickup trucks to the work site. And that's, that's what happens. But, we have such a narrow street that I don't know how many workers you're going to have.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have an idea.
Sure, I can speak to that too. In terms of, I remember when we renovated the property when I first bought it, and what I generally try to do it's scheduled, so the carpenters do their work and then have a day, so that everyone's not there at the same time. Have the plumbers go in electrical, so they're not stepping on each other's toes and that sort of thing, because I've dealt with that before. Other places where, I'd rather not, deal with it in terms of too many vehicles. And a lot of the contracts that I have anyways, they don't have large crews as well, so it wouldn't be many people or many vehicles. If it's people, they all really pool together when they're coming from a place. But I'll be mindful of that as well, and I will discuss with them. And I think we have ample parking too in the back for them. If there are additional vehicles in between the garages of Victor and I, there's a space there. The back side of my house, in between the garage and the parking area right there, we can fit three cars as we do now with my tenants, and we have that parking right there on the side as well, in addition to the front parking. So I think we have to be all set with that.
That'd be great. Okay, well, those are my questions.
Well, that's great. Thank you for coming. I should tell you that that Adam Street project that you mentioned was before the Board of Appeals. And one of the particular difficulties of that is its location due to cars coming off of the expressway and the interchange and the lights and people wanting to get to the post office. And when the traffic is coming up, I don't know what the name of that street is. It's Adam Street. And then trying to take a right-hand turn, and so the Traffic Commission actually weighed in on that and looked at traffic patterns and all of that. I think this is going to be far less dramatic, but certainly Mr. Prondak will be of help to everyone on that because he knows how to construct buildings. And if there's some need to either have a police officer or have no parking here or there during the construction period or during the day or something like that, that's usually worked out as part of an internal arrangement with the neighbors.
Great.
Okay?
Okay,
Great.
super. Thank you.
Thank you very
Good luck.
much. Appreciate you coming.
Okay.
Is there anybody else who has any questions? Hi.
Hi.
My name is Roy Chambers.
So Rod missed your
Oh,
first
I'm
name.
sorry, Roy Chambers.
Roy Chambers. Sure, where do you live?
Thatcher Street.
Yes, sir.
My house is right at the corner of Thatcher and Breck, right around the corner. My backyard actually faces your house. I think echoing most of Jean's complaints or issues that she talked about, and most of those were answered. My concern is about the hours of construction and the noise level. Is that something that's going to be a problem with us in the neighborhood? It's going to be regular hours of construction?
I think my colleagues can help me here, but I think in Milton, you can't begin before 7 o'clock and maybe 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock on a Sunday, and you have to end at 4:30. In other words, there are specific hours for the construction of projects in Milton that Mr. Prondak would know. And
Yeah.
do you know what they are?
Yeah, most
Okay.
people always have to be reminded of those rules,
Well,
the town's rules, because sometimes people extend those hours of work hours.
Well, that can happen, right, and that shouldn't. The worst condition I think that I've seen in some of these construction projects of late would be if they have to do blasting. I mean, that scares everyone up. But there's no blasting here, and I would think that Mr. Lindor, particularly Mr. Gianduso, the architect who's going to be there, can work with Mr. Prondak and make sure that everyone's life is not unnecessarily disruptive.
Right, I'm not objecting to it. I understand his position with growing family. Just that there's just some issues that come up that we need to, just to make sure everybody understands.
They do, and what happens more often than not is the neighbors talk with the applicant, or they talk with the applicant's foreperson, or the applicant's architect who's there. And if you don't receive what you think is a satisfactory response, you can certainly come up and speak with Mr. Prondak, and he's always supervising, either he or one of his assistants are always supervising and checking these projects as they go along, and he can weigh in on your behalf. And usually people do what Mr. Prondak asks them to do.
Basically, that was just my only questions.
Good, well, they're fair questions, and I think you're going to find a responsive attitude on behalf of Mr. Lindor and certainly Mr. Janduso, and everyone loves Mr. Prondak, so I think...
Thank you. Good luck.
Great, thank you, sir. Anybody else who would like to, who has a question or like to be heard on this application? Okay, is there anybody out there who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? And there's nobody there. So do you have anything you further want to add?
No, I do.
Okay, so what we'll do is, in the evidence portion of this, we'll discuss the application and the merits of it, and see if we can decide that right here and now. So, Mr. David, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think the application was very well presented. Thank you. And I mean, it's another case where it's a small lot, and space is tight on the lot, and to expand, the only way you really have to go without increasing nonconformities on the yard is up. And Mr. Lindor said he got his idea from another house in which the same thing was done. I think, given the fact that he does have he does need more room, or they need more room in the house, and that this is a good way to get it, and I would be inclined to, and from the support he's gotten and the lack of opposition here, I think I would probably find that it would not be more substantially detrimental to the neighborhoods. So I would be inclined to favor it.
Okay, Mr. Gray.
I'll be brief. I concur for all the reasons that Mr. Davis stated. I think that since there really isn't enough room to expand horizontally, it doesn't appear to me from the drawings that the additional height is particularly out of keeping with the other either for that building or for the other houses in that neighborhood. So I would tend to support the application.
Okay, well, look, I agree with my colleagues. I think you presented a nice application. You talked with the neighbors. There's really no serious objections. People are concerned about the construction project, but who isn't? I mean, if you're living in the house, you'd be concerned about it.
Right.
And I think you've demonstrated the flexibility to work with the neighbors to get this done in a positive way. It's certainly needed, and I think, as Ted suggested, this is another instance of where you have a house that has undergone tremendous repairs since you bought it, and not only is this going to be not more detrimental to anything in the neighborhood, this is going to be just a terrific improvement, and I think it's going to be, once it's built, it's going to enhance the neighborhood, and it's not going to be a detriment to it. I know you're going to suffer a little bit personally going through this process, but at the end it'll be worth it. So all those in favor of granting a finding that the modifications proposed by Mr. Lindor will not substantially increase any detrimental or injurious effect to the building or uses in the neighborhood, please say aye.
Aye.
So congratulations on your finding, and that'll be in the nature of a special permit, okay? And since you're a lawyer, you know the procedures. We have to draft the decision. It's got to be signed by all three of us. It's got to be filed with the town clerk. Then there's a 20-day appeal period before you can pull your building permit. In the interim, Mr. Gianduso knows Mr. Prondak, and he knows what he has to do. And so if there's some preliminary work he wants to do that doesn't go too far out of bounds, just that he can talk with Mr. Prondak, and just do whatever Mr. Prondak counsels, okay? And we put in these decisions that the project is going to be substantially in accordance with Mr. Gianduso's plans, which have at least been partially filed with the board. So if perchance there's going to be a tweak, a substantial tweak, well, you should have talked with them by now. But if there's going to be a mini tweak, make sure you deal with Mr. Prondak, so when his inspectors go out there, they see the plan and they see what's actually built, okay?
Right, absolutely.
So thank you for coming, congratulations on your finding.
Thank you so much.
And if I could, yes, thank you, I can keep your application all together.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, have a great night. Thank you, nice to have met you.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Is this the application we received, Mr. Prondak, on it?
Yes.
Okay.
You need a copy of it?
I don't.
John doesn't have a copy. Do you have any more copies?
Okay, that's great.
I think I printed one out. At least that one I like, this one I was like up to speed on.
It's two pages. Did you?
Yeah, I got it.
No, I only have one page.
You sent it out today,
I
that's what,
just gave the second page to him. Oh, for crying out, yeah, what's the date?
Mine's only one page. It's a 6-9 letter. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, they're two
There's two
separate
different-
letters.
yeah,
Okay.
two
there's
separate letters, yeah.
Okay, great. I thought there was one letter, but I, two pages. Okay, just let me get this. Okay, our third hearing of the evening, this is the application of John, and is it Carly? Sherry? Sherry? Sure, why don't you come on up? Let me cover some preliminaries and see if we can get into the application. Just sit down, relax. Okay, this is the application of John and Carly Cherry, and the Cherries live at 470 Elliott Street in Milton, and they're proposing to build a two-shed dormer and a 8 by 16-foot open deck with an egress stair, and to create a temporary apartment on and within an existing detached garage at the rear of the property at 470 Elliott Street. This home was built in 1933. It conforms to zoning with respect to use and dimensions. At one point, there was a garage that was demolished on the property. Here we have a plot plan that shows that the proposed dormer on the backside of the garage would be built 6.5 feet from the rear property line, and the bylaw apparently requires that structures be set back 30 feet from the rear property line. We have a set of plans from CH Designs dated February 4, 2019, showing the proposed improvements. And the ad indicates that generally speaking, temporary employment, temporary apartments within a single-family home may be a little more restrictive than being proposed here, so we'll have to deal with that in a little detail. But that's a fair summary of the ad. My name's John Leonard. I'm Chairman of the Board of Appeals. With me tonight is Board Member
Gray.
Gray.
Got it.
Gray somebody, huh?
One of the Gray guys.
No, I think it's Nick.
That's it.
Nick Gray. And over here is Ted Daber. We read the advertisement. We're going to have his evidence at the hearing. The application, it looks like it's dated 5/3/19. We have a denial letter from Mr. Prondak dated February 27th, 2019. And we have a whole set of plans from the architectural firm showing the proposed additions to the property. We have photographs of the interior of the present exterior of the property and the present interior of the property. So we have a lot of information on this particular application. So we thank the applicant for submitting all of that stuff. But before we get into the application, could I raise a couple of things that have come up?
Of course.
I received today. Did you receive the letters from Mr. Prondak?
Not today. No,
Okay,
I
let
did not.
me read them because it's really important. I think. So we have a 6/9/2019 letter. Do you have that letter?
No.
Okay, well, good.
I'm actually the designer, Heidi
I'm
Condon.
the
This
homeowner.
Carly is the
Yeah, you're
homeowner,
the
just so
designer.
you know.
Did you-
So no, I
did you
don't think we
get this letter?
received that.
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Well, it's dated June 9th, 2019. And it's from Birch Aymer. Is it Aymer or Aymer?
I never know.
Aymer. And he's a code enforcement officer. And he's referencing parking commercial vehicles in a residential
Yes,
zone.
we did receive that letter.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So let me read it. While doing routine inspections in the area, it was verified yesterday and today that a commercial van with advertising signage was parked in the driveway of your property at 470 Elliott Street. This constitutes a violation of the Milton bylaws, Section 3B1, small b. Your property is in a residency zoning district, and the bylaw prohibits the parking of commercial vehicles in any lot except that one such vehicle may be parked on a lot if it's parked inside of a garage. That makes sense. Upon receipt of this notice, you must abate the violation by permanently removing or garaging the commercial van. Failure to comply with this directive within 30 days of receipt of this notice, or file an appeal in accordance with Section 9D of the Milton zoning bylaw, would cause this office to seek compliance through the Southeast Housing Court / Criminal Division. Please call me at blank blank, the phone number, confirm receipt of the notice, and inform us of your intention to abate the violation. So that's number one. And then I received today a second letter. Did you receive this letter as well?
I'm not sure. I just got home from work basically and came here, so I may not have
Maybe
seen
you
it.
may not have. So let me read this letter, but you should get a copy of it. It's dated June 20th, 2019, and it's from the Building Commissioner, Mr. Prondak, and it's regarding outstanding violations of parking commercial vehicles at this residence. Dear Mr. Leonard, enclosed, please find a copy of a violation notice dated June 10th, 2019 to John and Carly Cherry at 470 Elliott Street, citing the parking of a commercial vehicle in a residential district. This office became aware of the violation at approximately the same time that they made an application for a building project, a building permit for this project. We communicated our concerns to them through their architect in an attempt to resolve the matter informally. John and Carly provided this office with information that the vehicle would be permanently garaged at their place of business in Randolph. However, shortly after this commitment was provided, the commercial vehicle was observed parked on the property on two separate occasions, on June 8th, 2019 at 10:15 p.m. and on June 9th, 2019 at 6 p.m. prompting a formal citation to be issued as of June 9th, strike it, June 10th, 2019. We respectfully request, should the board find it appropriate, to grant the relief requested in the application, that the effective date of relief be delayed approximately 90 days in order that this office can effectively ascertain that the violation has been cured. So is this the first time you've seen this letter?
Yes.
Okay. So you haven't talked with your husband about this? Probably not, because you haven't seen it.
We have not seen this letter. My husband did talk to Mr. Amer on Monday, I believe, and cleared it up. And then we sent a follow-up memo with kind of the times that the commercial vehicle actually is on the property, but it's not housed there overnight. And they said that was fine and that it was cleared, and that was our understanding at that time. So we had not seen this letter, nor did we know it was coming, really.
Yeah, well, it came today, and I wonder whether it makes some sense to have this thing resolved before we launch into an important addition that you want to make to your house. Procedurally speaking, I'm just speaking for myself, we can talk to my colleagues here, but I'm concerned with the idea of hearing an application, possibly granting relief in the application, but saying somehow it stayed for 90 days until this can be resolved, because we all have clocks ticking
Sure, of course.
on these various items. I'll hear from my colleagues, but I wonder whether it's better to here and now just try to continue this application for a week or 2 weeks or something like that. That's convenient to everybody, to allow you to straighten this out with Mr. Prondak.
Okay.
Because I think this is an important issue, and if it's been straightened out, I think Mr. Prondak doesn't fully understand that.
Okay.
And so let me see what my colleagues have to say here. Mr. Gray, do you want to go forward with the application and see if this can be worked out in the interim, or should this be worked out?
Your
in
point
advance?
your point is well taken. I'm not sure how we delay the 9 days. If we approve it, how we hold it in
Well,
make it
that's-
effective
that's-
90 days later. I mean,
Well, that's right.
On
We-
what basis
Right.
do that? I mean,
We couldn't do it without putting ourselves in
Yeah.
technical legal jeopardy, to be frank.
right.
I agree with that. I was thinking actually the same thing. And I was also thinking, I don't know whether it's appropriate to mention it or not, but I was also thinking that the application itself does not contain information that the zoning ordinance said it should contain. So that was another, that's kind of a procedural matter too.
Well,
but
that's right. I mean, this isn't pop quiz time.
No.
But if you look at the definition of having, we'll call it an in-law apartment or an in-family apartment in a residence, I think Milton, it's certainly disfavored in Milton, but the requirements are very strict and technical. And so normally speaking, somebody who's filing an application for this type of relief, and it's usually mothers and fathers and not family members, but it could be family members, generally. Usually they file as part of the application answers to the questions that are in the bylaw, and that includes who's going to be residing there, and you have to file a plan showing it's not more than 800 feet and all of that type of thing.
It's less than 800 square feet, and I guess we thought we'd really have a conversation with the board when it's appropriate to open the hearing to talk about Carly's parents. It's only Carly's parents. I just didn't realize you wanted it in
That wasn't the
writing.
impression I got
It's-
from the application here.
The bylaw says that certain things are supposed to be in the application. That's why. The application is supposed to include certain information.
And we can certainly provide that in the next 2 weeks if we continue the hearing.
Sure, and I think that's fine. All you're doing is supplementing your application.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
can do that as a matter of course. But do you agree that
Yeah, that would be the safest.
normally we have this in advance and then we go through the information, and if we think something needs to be tweaked or something further has to be added, we take care of that at the hearing, as long as this stuff
So you
is
have, yes, I understand.
substantially complete. So the problem with continuing this is that you just have to come back another day, and we have to find a day everyone is available, and we're getting into the summertime, and some people travel, and
Yeah.
are you generally available in the next?
I am.
I am I'm away in between July 20th and 27th, but other than that, I am around.
Yeah. What did you say, Bev?
Okay, I was looking because I had already scheduled that one hearing, the 99 line.
I knew you were going to do this.
For the week of July 15. I got 2 board members to agree to this. I don't know if you're,
I'm not sure of that.
I'm not here on the 15th of July?
that week.
Oh.
Therese cannot make it on the 17th. So it's 16th or the 18th of July.
I've given out some dates for a deposition that week, but I haven't heard yet. So
So which-
right now,
What are the dates, Bev? July?
July 15th, 16th, and the 18th.
I'm away on the 15th for sure. I could possibly do the 16th.
I think I could do the 16th. I don't.
I'm not sure about the 16th, but would you be available on July 16th?
I would be, yes.
And they'll just substitute someone in here for me. Because I'm supposed to be leaving, and they don't have it in my calendar, and my wife will kill me
Put me in,
if she's watching this.
Well, I mean, I could do the 18th either. Well, but you'll probably be going if you're leaving the 16th, you'll be going the 18th too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what my suggestion is, and see if we have an agreement by everybody. We continue it to the 16th.
Okay.
We don't have anything on the 16th, do we?
That's the only reason I put that out there, is we do have that 199 Lyman Road.
And that's on at 7:30?
I have not booked it, yes, that would be, I have not confirmed with them, because I still could not get a third person for that night,
Okay.
chairperson,
Well, who are the other two?
that agreed to sit in that night.
Yeah.
Grace and Ginny.
Well, I mean, you may have a deposition or something. I mean, I could.
Or we changed the week, I haven't put the legal in yet.
Well, I mean, I could probably do the 16th. So
Okay, so
Ginny has cheered before, right?
why don't we do this?
Oh,
Right? Hasn't she?
Ginny is chaired, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Though has some difficulty with a rotator cuff. I should have her visit you and
okay,
listen
so we
to your
have 3 for
misery.
the night, the 16th.
Yeah, and what I really suggest we do here, just for sanity and to protect ourselves, there are some strict timelines on these cases, and so Ms. Sutton has an extension, a waiver of those timelines. So can we get you to sign that?
Okay.
And then we take the pressure off in terms of the timelines. And we'll continue it over till the 16th. Since Bev has not booked the other hearing technically, we'll book this at 7:30 on the 16th, so you'll be the first hearing. And my hope is that before that time, and substantially before that time, that you, your husband, your lawyer, your representative, whomever, sits down with Mr. Prondak and gets this straightened out.
Yes.
And then he'll write a nice letter to us saying everything is happy and he's happy. And then in the interim, you can also answer these questions on the in-law apartment. Just send it in to Ms. Sutton. And
Which
we'll-
section is that, just so I have
Sure.
an easier time looking it up?
3A9.
Roman numeral 3, capital A, 9.
Great, thank you.
And you can file that
Sure.
well before the hearing, and we can go forward with the hearing. And looking at what we have out here today, you're not attending this hearing. You've got the next hearing, sir?
No, I'm attending.
You're attending this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you can talk to your neighbor and see what concerns he has. I should ask you, was July 16th all right with you? Are you going to be?
That's right now, yes.
Okay, that's great, because I don't want to schedule it if you're going to be on vacation and put you in a pickle. Great, so we're going to unanimously agree, and Bev, you'll get the waiver.
I will, yeah, just for.
Okay, and we'll,
Thank you, Bev.
we'll continue this hearing until July 16th, 2019 at 7:30 PM, right back here, and hopefully we'll be raring to go.
Sounds good, thank
Alrighty.
you very much.
I'm sorry.
No, I completely understand, and I don't want to open a hearing that would cause complications or put people in a situation that's not appropriate.
Right, and to be frank, we've had these issues of people parking commercial vehicles in residential properties.
And honestly, I don't think they knew. I mean, it's something that came
Well,
up, and
and
we're trying to.
No, I look at, I take Ms. Cherry's statements at face value, and because we have a June 9th letter, and if you thought that had been taken care of and resolved, and you come home from work and you have Mr. Prondak letter of June 20th.
Yeah, we just haven't seen it.
Yeah, so you now have copies of them, and so I suggest you do your best to get that resolved. Mr. Prondak is pretty good at resolving
No,
these
he
issues.
is. He's very good.
And we'll have a hearing and hopefully get your project started, or at least hear from anyone who's interested in your project. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry we left you standing at the altar, but this is the best way to do it.
That's the first, actually.
You have a way with words, John.
Very strict.
It is very strict.
Shall not issue unless you give us all these things,
That's right.
period. I think I was in town meeting when that was passed, so it meant it was drawn very narrowly.
How are you? It's my
Why don't you make yourself comfortable, and let me make some notes here, and we'll get going.
I had left them, and they didn't return to let me know about it.
Okay, that's fine. We all set for our fourth hearing of the evening? Okay. We're going to call to order our 8 o'clock hearing at 8:24. That's pretty good. I thought this was going to be 9:15 when I was looking at all the various
Thank you for
hearings.
staying so late. We appreciate it. I know how valuable my time is,
This is the application of Gregory Lumna. Did I pronounce that? correct?
Lumna, yep.
Lumna.
Yep.
Lumna, okay. Dated May 15th, 2019, seeking a variance from the terms of Section 61 of the bylaw. The applicant is requesting permission to build a 20 by 30 by 2.5-story addition to the rear of their home at 70 California Avenue. This home was built in 1951 as a single-family dwelling. It's presently conforming to the terms of the bylaw. The proposed addition here is proposed to be built at a distance of 16.5 feet from the rear lot line. And the Milton zoning bylaw goes through this mysterious formula about determining what the average depth, 30% of the average depth of the lot is. And that distance is 28.4, according to Mr. Prondak. And we take him as gospel because we can't figure out whether he's right or wrong. So here the property is in a Residence C zoning district. My name's John Leonard. I'm chairman of the Board of Appeals. With me tonight is Attorney Ted Daber and Attorney Mr. Gray. Nicholas Gray. The rules of the board are just like we've had in the other hearings. We hear from the applicant. We'll hear from people interested in the application. People want to speak in opposition to the application. As evidence for the hearing, I've summarized the advertisement. We do have the application. It's dated May 15th. We have a, it always gets me. May 15th, 2019 is the date of the application, but the denial letter is May 3rd, 2019, and I always wonder how you can get denied before you file, but it seems to happen all the time. We have a plan of land by Hoyt Land Surveying. It's dated, it's revised as of May 13th, 2019.
These are copies if you need them.
And, great. And we have copies of a lot of plans that Mr.
Extra copies.
Lumner is going to tell us about.
Sure.
So we thank the applicant for submitting these plans.
Thanks.
We have,
That's all right. Thank you.
we have two, at least two assents to this particular application. They're both dated May 27th. They seem to say the same thing, so I'll just read one of them. I'll paraphrase it. I'm an abutting neighbor of the Lumner family at 70 California. Greg has reviewed the plans with me. I wish to announce that I have no concerns or reservations regarding the proposed construction, and I'm happy that the Lumner family has the possibility to enlarge their house to accommodate their family needs. Well, it is. You've got some nice land to the rear of your house. You know this area.
Yes, yeah.
Live in this area. And then, excuse me, I'm not.
Both letters are the same, by the way.
Yeah, and this one is, the one I read is Bradley St. George of 66 California Avenue, and Thomas.
Pyle.
It's like Pyle, Peel or Pyle.
Peel. It's Peel, right?
Peel. You know, of 74 California Avenue, likewise endorses this application. So we thank the neighbors for weighing in on this. So, Mr. Lumner, welcome to the Board of Appeals. You want to introduce your boss here?
I would love to, actually, yes. This is my wife, Susan.
Susan, great.
Nice to meet you all.
We have 4 lovely daughters, 2 in college and 2 in high school.
Oh, really? That's great.
We're in a 3-bedroom room. You know, one of the rooms is very tiny. We have a bunk bed in one room with 2 kids in it, and it's challenging.
I hope it's not the 17-year-old.
It's the 21-year-old.
Yes.
Much to her dismay.
Okay, so the house has 2 bedrooms now?
It has 3 bedrooms.
I'm sorry, 3 bedrooms.
And we're going to go to 4 bedrooms, and one's going to be an office, the tiny room that we have, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And are you going to build the proposed addition consistent with the plans that you...
That is correct. Do you want me to go through that a little bit?
If you want to, sure.
Yeah. So, so this is the latest plot plan. This is dated May 13th, by the way. I think on the letter it was a different date. That was an old one.
Originally it was issued May 9th, but it's been revised as of May 13th.
Yeah, I think I've been in the office like 4 or 10 times probably. Yes. So the addition comes out straight out here and goes 30 feet. It just comes out and extends the house back. It doesn't encroach on my neighbors. My neighbors were over here on both sides. And then I had an existing patio that I'm going to now remove and actually put an L-shaped pervious brick patio here. We've already gone through the conservation board already and had an order of conditions for approval. at that point. The conditions of approval were, we have to put in markers in the back to identify a property. We have to have...
The lines of your property?
Yes, the board, the actual marker of that.
Oh, put
The
markers.
lane you can't see very well where our property starts and where the conservation starts, and they want to have a delineation marker that someone knows that they're going to be back there to walk around, that they know that where our property is and where the property is of the wetlands property.
And is that, the wetlands, is that property of the town, is it?
MWA, I think, owns that property, I believe.
Yes, and if you keep going out into the wetlands, do you come to a tributary or?
Yes, you do. You come to what's called Gulliver's Brook, I believe. It's a brackish water. It's both salt and fresh water. It feeds in from the ocean from one side and fresh water from the Milton side. It actually floods occasionally, well, just like a small lake a little bit and goes back down again. It's very nice.
On your property, does it?
No.
No.
This would be right over here.
Yes, sir.
Right here.
Okay.
At that point. So we're within the 100-foot mark, but over the 50, so between 50 and the 100-foot mark of this addition here at that point. These are the two markers here. This is the 50-foot, and this is the 100-foot mark back here. The other order conditions was that we couldn't park a tractor on anywhere close to 100 foot of the wetlands, which we're going to do. We have a two-car driveway that they can park the tractor at night at that point. The other condition was that we're going to put some blueberry bushes in here just to show a line between the 2 points here, to show people that where our property was. And I'm missing
Nope, the pervious pavers for the patio was the other request.
That was the only three
from the
orders of
conservation.
condition for the permission to build.
So how many blueberry bushes are you going to put back there?
Oh.
No, there may be a difference of opinion on this.
Yeah, well, no, we,
Well, I mean, they really didn't, they said between 3 and 4 was really all
Yeah.
that they
There's
required.
going to be exotic blueberry dishes like the small.
They were like it was a high bush, blueberry bush that somebody on the
We actually picked one
conservation
out,
committee. Yeah, they had recommended, so.
yeah.
It'll probably bring the deer because they love to roam in the backyard anyway, so I'm sure they'll be back there nibbling
Eating your
away.
blueberries.
Yes.
You gotta pick them as soon as they're.
I don't think we'll ever eat them. I think the deer will eat them before we'll ever get them, though.
Okay.
And we're going to do a small walkway porch out in back.
Off the back door.
Off the back door, that's it. So you walk onto the patio bricks at that point.
Are you going to do this project yourself, or are you hiring?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, these fancy
No.
verbally
I'm an engineer and I
fast.
took a lot of notes, by the
Oh,
way,
okay.
so I didn't know what to present, but we actually had a biologist actually go and survey the land, Brad Holmes. He's very well known in the area. And then we had Hoyt surveying actually landmark the lands for us. Went through a designer, which was
Oak out of Hingham.
Oak out of Hingham, the dollar houses in Hingham. And they designed the house for us. I do have plans below I can show if you want of the house at that point. And then
Sun River Builders.
Sun River Builder is going to be building the property for us. Very, very impressed with his knowledge of building. He talked about the LVL that we're doing. He talked about some of the features, had some great ideas. I feel very comfortable. He's very honest about his costing. At that point, that was my biggest concern, that I wasn't going to get somebody who really understood building, construction and such, but he was very impressed with him at that point.
He said he's done a lot of building in Quincy and some in Milton.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so this is kind of the pictorial of the house. This is the addition going in the back on the side. This is the back view at that point, and this is the front view of the house right here. And, so this is kind of the first floor itself. So they would be. This will be a kitchen area now. Kitchen's 1950s right now. It's very unusable, if I could say anything.
We've used it, but it's not functional.
Everybody hits each other, bumps around each other. It seems like there's 6 people in the family, it just doesn't seem functional at that point. One mudroom in here, and this is the second floor. We're going to convert, this is the tiny room I talked about, the bunk bed with 2 kids in it. This is going to turn into now an office for me personally for work and for kids to do homework. And this is going to be a bedroom in back. This is our master bedroom. And this will be a second bedroom here, which we access through the hallway at that point. There's a bathroom in front that's existing, which will not be touched, a bath, and you'll have a master bathroom here at that point. We'll have a full basement. Downstairs, and we'll have a bulkhead they'll access over here coming in the back way at that point. We're going to break through the wall here, so both basements, so you can access both basements if you want. There's an existing bulkhead here which we're not going to touch, which comes in from here at that point. The rest is more structural, how they're going to do the beams. This is all the construction. These are the same plans I submitted already, I think, at that point.
That's the original layout of the house.
Yeah, that's the original layout of the house right now.
Are you going to be living in the house during the reconstruction, or are you not?
We asked that question. Believe it or not, he told us that we could live in the house except for 2 weeks.
When they're doing the
What he's
kitchen?
going to do is going to addition back, is going to block off the area. When he's done, he's going to break through the last two areas. The 2 areas he's going to break through are the kitchen area here and right through here. You break through. And upstairs the same way. There's one access area he's going to break through here. So we can live in the house up until that point, which is great.
That's great.
What's even nicer is my 2 kids are actually working down in Chatham during summertime. So if it starts early, it won't even impact them at that point. So
How long do you anticipate this project lasting?
I'm thinking 3 months. I might be,
Well, I think he told us somewhere between 4 and 6 was
yeah.
also.
4 and 6
Yeah.
months?
Yeah.
at
But he said
best.
that the foundation, believe it or not, was only taking 3 weeks, which would surprise me, before you can actually start building, from start to finish at that point.
Well, it sounds dramatic
Dramatic, yes, that's
and
true.
adventurous.
We've actually talked about,
Long-awaited is what it is, and exciting to consider if it, if granted, so.
we talked about this for about 10 to 15 years. This is a discussion we've had back and forth, and it was always about financial, the kids, and what's going on. It just never seemed to materialize, and we just said, let's do it now,
Well, thinking towards the future and what the future can hold as the kids get older and the families grow.
Come back and visit us now,
Well, they're not going to go away, I'll tell you that.
Honestly, I hope they don't.
I've got kids in New York, and they come back here all the time.
Yes,
More chance of them going away if you kept the bunk beds.
yes.
Absolutely right. They still have their bedrooms in our house with their diplomas on the wall.
Fully intact,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, no, you can't touch anything. No,
Believe it or not, our attic right now is full of all the kids' stuff up there. You can't even walk up there. With that and the Christmas decorations, there's no place to walk.
This sounds exciting. Let me see if my colleagues have any questions. Mr. Gray,
No, I don't.
do you want a copy of the building plans? Mr.
I'm
Gray?
liking this very much, actually.
Oh,
I think
a lot of work gone into this.
I think your master bedroom is going to look out onto the water, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
very good perception.
That
yeah.
looks, that's,
It's going to be a marvelous view looking back and looking at the wetlands.
yeah.
There were deer in my yard a couple days ago, actually. The deer come all the time walking through there. It's kind of really neat,
I used to walk my dog in this area.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
You have nice sound and proof windows for the airplanes.
Oh, yes.
Well, you get to know the pilots.
Know the place well, huh?
I used to live not far from
There's Pilot Jack. Hi, Jack. How are you?
Yes, yeah.
But on the other hand, it's a gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who used to live here was Bill Tanny. Bill Tanny was a court judge in Norfolk,
Know him
actually.
very well.
You do know
Yeah,
him? Yeah.
I hope he's still alive.
passed away.
He did,
Yeah. I'm actually very good friends of his son, Billy.
Yes. No,
And
he's
they got a
wonderful.
lot of kids.
Wonderful guy, wonderful judge, very compassionate man, and
Yes, yeah.
delightful. And just around the corner here, Jim Casey, I don't know whether you, yeah,
Casey, yes, I know, yes.
Jim Casey was the lead lawyer for, it's one of the big insurance companies, do you remember?
Oh,
Is it Austin Edison, or is it?
no.
Oh,
You said insurance company. No,
yeah, well,
it wasn't Liberty Mutual.
Liberty Mutual. He was the lead lawyer for Liberty Mutual. And a big hulk of a man, and that's where I used to see Jim walking his dog as well. So, no, it's a very nice area. Ted, do you have any questions of Mr. Lumna?
No, so it's all, I mean, the back of you, there's houses on either side, but the back is all conservation land and river and
Yeah, I don't
meadows.
encroach on anybody's view or anybody's property at all, which is nice, you know?
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, the setback is supposed to be 28 feet.
Yes.
This is basically cutting it in half down to about 16.
16, yeah.
But the point is, the setback is a mile or however long, I mean, really. I mean,
Well, Boston,
in-
yeah,
In
right.
terms of not having anybody in back of you, right? Yeah. I'm just curious, what's the basketball court?
Oh, it's a great story. So in 1966, Mr. Williams was from the MWA, I believe.
I thought I don't know the answer.
And Mr. Tierney got together, and they actually put that basketball court there for their kids. So that's how that came about, is they actually got it paved onto the conservation land, and actually had that for years at that point.
Is it still in usable condition?
Yes, it's
A
usable
few-
still,
A
yeah.
few root bumps.
What's needs to
There's
get
baskets there and everything?
There's a pole, yeah, it's kind of
Yep, and the
cemented in.
and the asphalt actually is in great shape, believe it or not, since that time frame. And what it needs is a good paint job, which I haven't done yet. My kids weren't really excited about it, so I didn't put the effort into that, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was just curious. I
Yeah.
don't have any other,
It was a neat neighborhood, I think, at the time when we moved in. A lot of the families that were still living there had raised their families there, and families of 5 and 6 kids. So not, the Tierneys in our house, and the Williams and the Learys, all with, and it was a big neighborhood, and I think they enjoyed the property, the conservation land behind, not just that, but even in the back behind there as well. It was quite a neighborhood at the
Do
time.
people go kayaking in this area?
They come down occasionally, yes, yeah, you can see them down, the water gets up high enough that they can kayak down into the little channel going out.
The water directly behind our house, though, it doesn't fill up very often. It's unusual high tides that kind of fill that area right directly behind our house. But the river itself, or the stream, or whatever it is, the Neponset, Gulliver's Creek, or whatever, is constant. But the water directly behind us.
Chuck Caputo, I'm not sure you know him from the police department chief, comes all the time walking with his dog back there. He enjoys
the property. yeah.
the property a lot at that point, you know?
Oh, it's a wonderful area,
Yeah.
except when you're walking your dog at 11 o'clock at night in December 28th or something. It can be a little bit rigorous. But no, that's great. This sounds wonderful. Do you have any more questions, Ted? No. Okay, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
What's the next step of apply for a permit? For my builder would apply for a permit.
Well,
Steps,
happen-
yeah.
What happened is we have to give you the relief here,
Yep,
and then your builder would take the plans and all of that and make an appointment to see Mr. Prondak? How does that work?
As soon as the 20-day letter starts,
Okay.
which is the day that the decision is filed.
Yep.
So I will have gotten it back from the board, all signed.
okay, yep,
That day, your plans go into the queue,
okay.
and then you call Joe
Yeah.
and say what number.
Oh, I see, okay.
Can I ask you a question? I don't want to show my ignorance here. But has Mr. Prondak looked at these plans?
Joe?
Joe.
Yes, he has, yeah.
Oh, that's what I
Yes.
mean, he is,
He has seen
he
it.
said, giving you a preview of coming attractions.
Ostensibly might be.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, was a frequent flyer.
Oh,
okay, well, why I say that is because it's really, it's important to get Mr. Prondak
attention.
insight and
Yeah.
advice
Yeah.
beforehand, because if you just walk in and we give you the
Yeah.
relief you want, and you take this and you hand it to Mr. Prondak, and he says, oh, but what about this and that? And
Yes.
that would hurt your schedule.
Yeah.
He came in, he took notes, he just,
You videotape Joe? or-
Yes, they did, yes.
Well, it was funny, you said, I teach, so I have frequent flyers to the nurse, so to hear you say that about him coming to your office, that was awesome.
That's good.
And the plans were before the Conservation Commission too, right? Or
The plans are after conservation.
oh, they were after they were based on the.
The final plans were, yes, right. But this is the most current, based upon the plans that we're doing. The only difference was is the patio change at that point.
Yeah, okay.
Good. So let's do this. Let's see if there's anybody present here who has any questions. I think we've driven everyone away. They just can't stand us anymore. So there's nobody here who has any questions. Let's see if there's anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of this application, and there's no such person. Anybody present who wants to speak in opposition to this application for a variance? And there's no such person present. If you have nothing further to add,
Yes.
okay, we'll end the evidence portion of this hearing
Give you a
and
decision.
discuss this application in open session. Mr. Nicholas Gray.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is, again, a very well-presented, thoughtful plan. The relief you're seeking, as our colleagues have pointed out, is for the, for the back area where there's nobody, nobody back there to complain about how close you are to the property line. Obviously, you need the space, and I think it's going to be a nice addition to the neighborhood, so I would tend to vote in favor of it.
Mr. Daber.
No, I agree. I think it's certainly the need for it, and the standard is whether or not it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing nonconformity, and it's clearly not, and it's a benefit and an enhancement both to you and to the neighborhood. So I would also be inclined to vote in favor of it.
Can I ask you a question? Because when I looked at this application, I saw this as a variance application. This is a straight variance application and not a pre-existing non-conforming. The house is
The one that I have.
The legal notice mentions permit, special section 4 for some reason.
Well,
Do you have a different legal notice?
I have a different legal notice.
Were there two different legal notices?
Well, what does the denial letter say?
One legal notice might have been for conservation, is that what?
I don't think so. I just want to get the standard. I don't want to give you relief and find out we're giving you relief.
This is what was,
This one.
I couldn't get it to print well, so.
I don't have.
See, the denial letter from Mr. Prondak is a variance, variance.
What's in the, here we go. It's just 6D1.
Yes, 5, but this is dated May 3rd, 2019. I just want to make sure we're dealing with the right standard.
Well, look at the notice that I. It's a special permit. That's why I said it.
Yeah,
Is that what you have special?
that's what I got.
Is it a special permit or variance?
I thought it was a,
Depending on the,
well, look,
What was Joe?
Mr. Prondak is talking about
Can I have
variance.
my? What was the rest of the package that I?
This is all I got from John.
No.
This is probably it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll figure it out. Yeah. So, It looks like the application is looking for 6D1, and the denial letter doesn't mention anything about a special permit. At least the portion of the denial letter that I was able to print.
You're right, it does say variance, but in here it said,
So if the application is looking for a variance,
Is this what you're looking for?
yeah, let's see the whole thing. Thanks. We'll get it straightened out.
No, that's all right. The denial letter is strictly a 61 variance for rear yard setback. Is that what you understand the
yes.
application
Yes, it was.
relates to? So I don't know. Well, I assume this is the one that was published. This was the one that was with the...
I got the published notice here.
You have the public notice, could you send it over
See
here?
what that one
Yep.
says. Yeah.
Variance.
Yeah, this is a straight, it was advertised as a straight variance.
That's what, and then, that's good, yeah.
So I printed this, I printed the one before I changed it.
Okay, that goes back to Mr. Lumna.
So John had the right one.
yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the existing house is more than 28 feet from the backyard. So I don't think there's an existing nonconformity. In other words, with the, which would mean it's not a special permit, it's a variance.
Yeah.
If you look at the plan, that's.
okay, so there we are.
So I-
So we're
well-
granting relief here as a variance.
As a variance.
Okay. So, all those in favor of granting the variance requested by Mr. Lumna, which is a rear yard setback variance, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's good. So at least we're going to give you the relief that you need rather than something you don't need.
Well,
I guess
thank you.
my question to you is going to be the dangerous question. When do you want this? I take it you want to start to build next week.
July, we wanted to cut ground.
Well, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even if this, when we do this, it normally takes 2 weeks to do this.
Yep.
Okay? And then it's filed with the clerk.
Yep.
And there's a 20-day appeal period.
20, okay. Yep.
Even though nobody's opposed your variance application,
Yep.
before your permit can be given. And sometimes some pre-construction work can be done if it's inside and not bothering people in Mr. Prondak discretion, but you can't get really a building permit to build until
Okay.
that 20 days has gone by, okay? Where does that put you?
That would put me in August?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And that's assuming you can get this done
Yeah,
sooner than 14 days.
yeah, yeah.
There's nothing we can do about that.
No, there's-
The only
that's-
thing we can do is try to expedite it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the exterior work done, before it gets too cold, and then so they're just doing interior things,
Yeah.
by the
Right, right.
cold weather, I guess.
I mean, I'm willing to take this and to try to get you a decision fairly soon.
Great, thank you.
Miss Beverly,
Yes.
do you have your typing skills at hand?
Pardon?
If I give you a decision, can you type it?
Yes.
Because
I
my
write
type-
legibly.
I guarantee you, I will not write legibly.
Of course I will.
But because my typist is presently tied up
I'll do it.
all this weekend. So
Yeah.
it's gonna, I'd be away 8 or 9 days before I can get something
Small
typed.
fee, but I will do that.
You can do that?
Yes.
Okay. Then
That's the first time.
then we'll give you some donuts or something, and,
I will bring the donuts in to Beverly.
so, you know, it's interesting because all of the stuff that you have here, it's all great and wonderful, it's interesting and exciting and intimidating to me. And because I just had a couple of bathrooms done and it was
Yes.
a nightmare. So this, but the point is, I think, stripped of all of the wonderful accessories that you bring to bear with this application, it's actually a very simple application.
Yes.
It's a very simple variance, so I can maybe save 2 or 3 pages and
Yeah.
get them out of the way and give you something that's short.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Do you have any questions?
No, this is a very exciting point in our life, actually. We
Well,
were
it should be.
waiting for a
and,
long
you know,
time on this.
You start to get into September or October, and things dwindle fast, and all of a sudden, you could find yourself in some difficulty with the cold coming in
Yeah,
here
yeah.
and having your house all ripped apart.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping you can finish before Christmas. Otherwise, you'll have to go to Florida or
That's true.
That would be a disappointment.
Okay, so I'll do my best to crank this out. Beverly will keep you in the loop.
Yes.
And I'm sure, Nick, are you around next week?
I am.
And Ted, are you around to sign the decision? so
Oh,
we
yeah,
can get
yeah, I'm
this-
around. I don't take vacations.
Well, I know.
At least I haven't in the last couple of years.
Okay, so let me say this. Congratulations on your variance.
Thank you
It's a
so
wonderful
much.
project.
very
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes.
It sounds great. It's a great location. It's wonderful. So just stick to it and have the courage. And
Will.
and the kids, then your kids will never leave you. Once this is done, you can ensure they're going to stay with you
They will.
for 45
That
years.
is Susan's biggest fear, by the way. They won't come back.
Oh, no. They'll come back with this, and it'll be a wonderful improvement to your
Yeah.
to your residents, and I think it's going to be a great investment for you as well.
Sure, yeah.
And
Thank you.
This, if you got a project of this size, and you have to do it, it's good to do it when money's available and the interest rates are low and you're not
Exactly, yeah.
in a terrible pickle. Congratulations. Thanks
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Keep in
very
touch with Miss Sutton.
Nicholas, John, and Mr. Gray, I guess.
Mr. Nicholas.
Nicholas,
Gray.
Nicholas, Leonard, and John. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Ted, though.
He's
Ted, Ted, sorry.
Okay.
Very appreciative. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
we're
that.
going to be adjourned. Sorry we took up so much time here. but
Not at all, not at all.
You presented